I'll call to order the February 27th meeting of the Cary Town Council. Technical issue to start with. We realize that the QR code on the screen is not working properly, and we're working on it, is what I understand. So hopefully we'll get there. Starting off tonight, we'll ask Mr. France to provide our ceremonial opening. Mr. France.
Thank you, Mayor. If you'd please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're now at agenda item 1.3, the adoption of the agenda. We have a couple of suggested changes to the agenda. First, Councilmember Bush would like to present the Open Data Day proclamation prior to our town manager's report this evening. Secondly, the applicant for agenda items 6.1 and 6.2 on the agenda, Chapel Hill Road Towns rezoning and comprehensive plan consistency statement, has requested that we remove these items from the agenda to give them additional time to address outstanding issues. Is there a motion to accept the adopted amended agenda?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That takes us to item 2, which is recognitions, reports, and presentations. I do know that we have scouts in our audience this evening. Troop 216 from St. Michael's Church is here working on their Citizenship and Community badge, and I would ask that you stand so we can recognize you at this time. Thank you for being here, and we hope that you'll stay throughout the meeting. Of course, that'll be a long time. We're going to be here a long time. Just kidding.
No, you're not.
No, we will be here a long
We'll
time.
be here a long time, but you don't have to. But we do thank you for being here, and hopefully you'll learn a lot this evening. We'll now move to item 2.1, recognitions, reports, and presentations, and I'll ask Ms. Seppi Asfina to join me at the podium for the presentation and proclamation designating National Engineers Week in Cary. You know, I got a letter that said to see you. Thank you for being here. Ms. Seppi is the Ms. Asfina. Is the owner and president of Seppi Engineering and Construction. And Engineering Week actually happened a couple of weeks back. If you remember, there was snow. That meeting was canceled. And so we're a little delayed on the Engineers Week. So we're going to do it tonight. And before I do, I do want to thank you for being here and taking part in this. And I would ask that while I'm reading the proclamation, for Ms. Asfina, I would ask that all the engineers in the audience stand up so that we know that you're here and you're engineers, and please remain standing while I read this proclamation. Okay.
That's half the audience.
Recognizing, and remember this is a while back. Gosh, we got a lot of engineers. We could build something tonight. Recognizing February 16th through 22nd as Engineers Week in Cary. Whereas engineers have helped build our nation since its founding. Our first president, George Washington, is often referred to as our country's first engineer. He conducted engineering activities as a soldier and as a young man, including surveying and mapping wilderness territories. Whereas engineers have built the foundation for progress and development and contributed greatly to society by turning ideas into reality. Engineers face the major technological challenges of our time, including pronunciation. From rebuilding towns devastated by natural disasters to revolutionizing our infrastructure. Engineers use their scientific and technical knowledge and skills in creative and innovative ways to improve society's quality of life. Whereas these dedicated members of the profession, representing many different disciplines from aerospace engineers to transportation engineers, are instrumental in building and maintaining the systems and infrastructure that protect our health and safety, restore and protect our environment, and contribute to our economic future. And whereas National Engineers Week was established in 1951 to help increase the public understanding of the engineering profession, as we observe National Engineers Week, a little belated, we ask everyone to recognize the critical work that more than 1.6 million engineers in this country do, celebrating engineering technology and innovation, and cultivate interest in math, science, and engineering among the nation's youth, tomorrow's workforce. Now, therefore, I, Harold Weinbrecht, Jr., Mayor of the town of Cary, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the week of February 16th through 22nd as National Engineers Week in the town of Cary. And I hope that many of our citizens participated in National Engineers Week activities and saw firsthand that virtually everything we see and use has been engineered in some way, although we may not see engineers behind the scenes. Furthermore, I applaud the engineers working for the town of Cary. Over 600 licensed professional engineers in our community for the significant contributions they make to enhance the quality of life of all Cary citizens by providing their health, safety, and welfare, proclaim this 27th day of 2014.
I just want to express my appreciation on behalf of all the engineers in our community and the town of Cary for recognizing the Engineers Week, and I do agree with everything that Mayor said and read, that engineers do improve the quality of life in our communities and completely directly impact. So I hope all of the scouts here choose engineering for their future career. I do appreciate it, and I'm grateful City Council members and the Mayor for this honor. Thank you.
Thank you for being here and all of your contributions.
Thank you so
Thank you very much. We have another special item, so I'm going to stay right here. It's a presentation from the CAP team, and we're honored to have members of our Citizens Assisting Police with us this evening for the presentation. So, Chief Bazemore, I invite you and our CAP team representative and Mr. Shiver to join me at the podium. Chief, I'm going to let this be your show.
Okay, thank you, sir. Good evening, Council. Before we go with the presentation from the CAP team, I wanted to just thank you personally for your support for our Citizen Police Academy. We just started last Wednesday night our 34th session of the Citizen Police Academy, and our CAP team members have all been through the Citizen Police Academy, have graduated, and then come back and volunteer with us. This year they have volunteered 5,905 hours to support police operations in the town of Cary. Without them, I don't think we would be the safest city in the United States right now. So I just want to thank you for supporting that, and then turn it over to Ingrid Wright.
And therefore, I too say that we improve the lives of the citizens of Cary. And I'm honored tonight to be able to represent my CAP team in presenting to you the efforts that we have put forth this year in our volunteerism. And I see that I don't have the 5 minutes, and I appreciate that.
You can talk as long as you want.
No, I'm not going to do that. Thinking about the Scouts. I just want to highlight what we do to better give you an understanding. And I know I stand here every year, and I do the same thing every year, and and it's great. I love it. Thank you. So what we do, we man the Cary Town Center substation for the Cary PD, which is huge. I mean, it saves a lot of time and effort, and we like doing that. We have a bike program that we started 7 years ago, and it started with a few bikes that were brought in by the Cary Police Department, and they have no place for these bikes. So we took the bikes, and they're a handful of gentlemen who repair the bikes very, very professionally, and then we give them back to the community for people who need them. In these 7 years, we have repaired almost 1,900 bikes, which is amazing. Thank you, Lori. And it has spread so much that we have had more than one occasion Fort Bragg come, and they picked up bike and flew them to Afghanistan and Iraq, and also after the earthquake in Haiti, for the police officers there and also for the school children. So that's a huge, huge thing that we do. We also maintain the range. Our range gang maintains the range for the Cary PD. And we do child car seat installation, the safety installation at the Fire Station 5, I believe it is, every Wednesday. We have a lady, her name is Louise, and she's been with us since she was class number 1, and she's been faithfully doing this every Wednesday since. We have another gentleman, Frank, who was actually even before our first class volunteering for the police department, and he now gives goodies for the officers that are in the late night shift so that they too should have something before they start their shift. We started a few years ago with a park patrol, and we have several members that patrol all the Cary parks either by foot or by bicycle, and just monitor what's going on and report if there's activity that needs to be reported. We do child ID. We assist the Phoenix Task Force at the mall and other entries. Whenever, we're called to do child ID, we do that and have done that for a long, long time, as well as the seatbelt survey. We also do sobriety checkpoints. We provide refreshments on all sobriety checkpoints. And when I say all, I do not mean only Cary. We go everywhere. We go to Raleigh, we go to Roseville, we go to Wendell, we go to Holly Springs, we go to Apex, Garner, you name it. I've been doing it for 15 years, and it's just amazing, and it's great to be able to be part of that. So that's 9 of the really most prevalent tasks that we do. Of course, we do other things that are for the town of Cary more than the police department. Actually, we do surveillance projects when the police is asking us to do crisis negotiation, play hostage, play bad guys, and we get a water gun and off we go. Very intense, by the way. We do the medicine drop events, we do Special Olympics, we do dog park assistance, and of course we do the big stuff like the spring days, lazy days, Christmas festivals, parade, etc. Not going to talk anymore because then I will be late. So this again marks the 10th year that we give out the check, and I did this the first time 10 years ago to then Mayor Ernie McAllister. And for 18 months, we had racked up $19,000. When I say this dollar amount, what it represents, the almost 6,000 hours that we worked in 2013, we take that times an entry-level salary of a police officer, and that's how we come up with the dollar amount. And this year, we'd like to present to you, Town Manager Mr. Shiver, the check of $144,849.65. Would like to stand up. I brought a few of my friends with me. Come on.
These folks. These folks really do a lot of work for the town, as you pointed out, and you all are very special people, and you're all very dedicated and committed. And this is not play money here. This is real. Without their efforts, police officers have to do a lot of this work, or our levels of service or our quality of life goes down. And so that's the impact that this group is having. And just so you know, they're almost one-to-one with police officers. That's how many CAP team members we have.
156 members.
156 members. So you're very special to us, and we're very glad that you do what you do, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're now at item 2.3. This is the presentation of the Triangle Open Data Day proclamation, and I'll ask that Councilmember Bush present the Triangle Open Data Day proclamation that we added to our agenda at the beginning of the meeting. Ms. Bush.
Thank you, Mayor. Would the Ian squared, since we're in the engineering realm, would Ian Soleil and Ian Henshaw join me at the podium, please? Mayor. First off, I don't have to say how much I enjoy technology, and just to put in a plug, if anybody's watching, yes, I am excited about Google Fiber. So anybody who's watching this, I think we've received something in the order of magnitude of 120 emails now from citizens. So I know that technology is not something that's near and dear to my heart, but to many of the citizens inside of Cary. I would also like to say that the the technology task force that this council created a couple of years ago started a wave of interest in what it takes to engage citizens using technology. And these two gentlemen behind me were both on the technology task force and have taken that little seed and have made something quite remarkable from it. And what they've created is the second Open Data Day. The first one was the Cary Open Data Day, and the second one was more regionally focused, and it was called the Triangle Open Data Day. It was last weekend, and I'm sure Mr. Henshaw, Mr. Soleil will give more information about that. We wanted to present this before Open Data Day started, but of course the snow event kept us from doing that. So in its place, I'll read this proclamation and then offer some opportunity for the Ians to make some comments. A proclamation recognizing February 22nd, 2014 as Triangle Open Data Day in Cary. Whereas the town of Cary is committed to open government and using technology to foster open, transparent, and accessible government by making public data accessible and fostering and encouraging civic engagement. Whereas open data refers to data generated by public sector entities that is legally accessible and available electronically to the public for their use. The town of Cary encourages the community to develop software applications and tools to collect, organize, and share public data in new and innovative ways, and those ways benefit citizens and government in the areas of economic development, commerce, and citizen engagement. Whereas the Information Services Advisory Board, the ISAB, is a group of Cary citizens appointed by the Town Council to advise them about ongoing, open, effective, multilateral communications with Cary citizens and other publics through idea generation and implementation in traditional and innovative media, including new and emerging technologies. One of the ISAB's 2014 Town Council approved goals pertains to open data and specifically getting more people involved in this initiative and making recommendations to the Town Council. And whereas the first official Open Data Day was celebrated in 2013, this year, the effort and reach has grown, and the event is a triangle-wide celebration showcasing the benefits of regional collaboration. 2014 events focus on 3 primary topics: open data education, hacking for civic good, and uniting the triangle through data. Now, therefore, Harold Weinbrecht, the mayor of the town of Cary, and the rest of the Town Council do hereby proclaim February 22nd as Triangle Open Data Day in Cary, and I encourage our citizens and our members of our business community to get involved and learn more about this emerging technology and its positive impacts on our citizens, community, and government.
Thank you, Ms. Bush. Mr. Mayor, Town Council, we're on behalf of Ian Soleil and myself, we're very happy to accept this proclamation as support from the town for open data. A year ago, we had this idea to start Open Data Day, and we thought if we had 6 or 10 people show up, it would be a success. We had 80 people show up with a waiting list. We had to turn people away. So this year, we made a bigger event. It's 300 people. We sold out again, had a waiting list. So if there's any indication, I have now 2 data points that show that this may not be a flash in the pan, that this may actually be a movement that the town of Cary should look at. We had great representation from the Triangle at Triangle Open Data Day. Jack Smith and Lori Bush and Wilson Farrell from the town were there on behalf of the town of Cary. But we also had people from Wake County, both municipal, a mix of municipal and elected officials from Durham County, as Cary, as I said, from Raleigh, from Morrisville, from Chapel Hill, and City of Durham. So this is a regional effort. I think we can probably say that we were the biggest open data event in the country, and I could have to say probably because we haven't looked at the final numbers yet. But there definitely is a move for this, and so on behalf of the citizens, the entrepreneurial community, and the technology people, I'm very happy to accept the proclamation for Open Data Day.
Thank you, Ian. And I know it sounds like a huge success on Open Data Day, and I'm glad to hear that. That's great. And thank you for all you do bringing emerging technologies to Cary and keeping that going and keeping the interest. I know you ping me constantly, so keep doing that. We're going to get there one day. So thank you all for what you do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have on the agenda the town manager's report. He has shared with me that there's not really a lot of change since our last report, so he's going to postpone that till another time. So that'll take us to Public Speaks Out. This is agenda item 3. We've included instructions for speaking at this forum on the printed agenda. And if you would like to speak, please take a seat at this time in the rows to my right that are shown as reserved and follow the instructions on the agenda. Public Speaks Out speakers have up to 3 minutes each for their comments, and speakers may speak on any topic that is not a public hearing this evening. We have public hearings listed on the PowerPoint slide, and I would thank you for holding your public hearing comments till you get to the public hearing. There's a 3-minute time limit, as I said, and I will have to enforce the 3-minute time limit for all of our speakers since there's a 1-hour time limit overall for Public Speaks Out. There's a timer located on the podium. It has 3 colored lights. The green light means you can speak for the first 2.5 minutes before it changes color. And when it turns yellow, that means you have 30 seconds left. And when it flashes red, I'm going to be interrupting you and asking you to conclude your comments. And I thank all of our speakers in advance for adhering to our 3-minute guideline and our time limit. And we ask that groups, if you're here as a group, that you have one spokesperson for your group to speak on their behalf, and that should reduce repetitive comments. I thank everyone in the audience for respecting that this is a business meeting. Please do not applaud, make remarks from your seat, or anything else that might distract from this meeting. So at this time, I'm going to open up Public Speaks Out for anyone who would like to speak on a topic that is not a public hearing, and I would invite our first speaker forward at this time. Could you move to your left, please?
Beg your pardon?
Could you move to your left, please? Thank you.
Be glad to. Hi, my name is Walt Thompson. I'm a member of the Oxford Hunt Community Association. I come here with no complaints or faults or anything, but I just want to pass on a concern that our association has with respect to abandoned homes and our difficult times in dealing with getting those homes through the foreclosure process and get people living in the homes again. Right now we have 2 homes in our subdivision, 650 homes that have been abandoned for 2 years or more, and we're having difficulty getting the banks to foreclose so we can move this thing forward. I just wanted you to be aware that we have those concerns. The second topic I wanted to mention is the Cary Theater. I was there Saturday morning for the grand opening. It was wonderful. I want to thank the the town council and the citizens of Cary for doing it. It was a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Price Collins. I'm a constituent of yours down by the tennis courts, and my wife spends a lot of money with you over at the auto repairs. So that's an issue for full disclosure. I'm also the retired principal webmaster of General Electric, but I'm not a registered engineer, so I'm a qualified nerd to speak on the issue at hand. And I also had, in continuing with full disclosure, I had a contract with Google Earth for a couple of years leading up to 2009, but that all got offshored. As I note on the handout, I'm a retiree on Social Security and a modest pension, so communications costs are of particular importance to me, as I think you're talking about Engineers Week and you're also talking about large data. Right now, I'm spending $72 a month for everything under the sun: TV, telephone, internet. And I do it by having no cable or satellite. And I get my phone right for $2.50 a month through that same internet that I pay for. Every month, every autumn, I have to go down to the unregulated common carriers we have in this county, although they don't want to be called a common carrier because that would regulate their rates. And I have to argue to try to keep one or the other of them down to $30 or $40 a year, or a month. And that, to me, is just a product of their lack of regulation. Google came out here on February the 19th. They announced that they are willing to electrify the Raleigh-Durham area, which it would include Cary, and they'll put in gigabit. Means, in other words, I'm not talking about 16 to 20, which I get off of Time Warner, megabits, or 6 megabits for about the same price off of AT&T. This is going to take political leadership from a town that knows what those terms mean. And I don't know that how Raleigh and Durham themselves might be politically busy with other activities. But if you're worrying about Engineers Week and you're worrying about big data as useful for the town, you need an internet, and you need a high-speed internet to do the job, and you need a controllable cost. As you'll note, I've included the product pricing sheets from AT&T and Time Warner, and thereafter the one that they've already put in Kansas City by Google. Chattanooga, incidentally, doesn't have the same kind of law that was just passed.
Mr. Collins, I'm sorry to have to interrupt.
So they've done it on a town basis. You can't, but you could give me the political leadership to let Google do it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Anyone else for public speaks? Oh, sorry.
Hello again. My name is Amy Sackroff. I live on Donna Place, and some of you may remember spoke about this last year and a couple other times. We're requesting traffic calming measures on West Maryland Circle. And if you recall, the road, part of the road is designed as a collector, and the rest of it is a neighborhood street. And the section where it transitions is on a blind hill with limited sight distance and inadequate lane width. So we're requesting that some type of traffic calming measures be employed. The town has been working with us, and we're very grateful for that. They have added a double yellow lane down, or striping down the middle, and white end of pavement markings on each side, but that's really not addressing the speed of the cars coming through and the fact that there are no facilities for pedestrians whatsoever. So the town also did a traffic data speed study, and they found that the conclusion was that there is no evidence of widespread speeding, which that might be so if you're looking at just residential collector streets, but this just doesn't fit that. It's got a steep grade, as you can see in the pictures, blind hill, and just nowhere for people to get off of the road. So, so based on the ADT, the average daily traffic volumes, it could be inferred that based on the percent of cars that were speeding, that 77 cars a day speed over this hill. And we've got little kids, and we want to see what we can do to get that reduced. So thank you for your time and for working with us.
Thank you. Next speaker for Public Speaks Out. Anyone else for Public Speaks Out? Seeing no one, we'll close Public Speaks Out. And we'll move to item number 4, is the consent agenda portion of tonight's meeting. For the benefit of people watching our meeting on TV, I'll take a moment to review our consent agenda items. Please know that one vote approves all of these items. On the consent agenda, we have minutes, tax report, Weldon Ridge Plan Development Amendment, annexation, rezoning, and comprehensive plan consistency. Pollard Harris, annexation, rezoning, and comprehensive plan consistency. Marquise Home property at Pittard Sears Road, rezoning and comprehensive plan consistency. Comprehensive plan amendment for Weston Plan Development. Renewing the lease at 155 Wilkinson Avenue. Street renaming. A bid award for Jordan Lake Water Reclamation and Reuse Project. Planning and Zoning Board appointment. Ratification of acceptance of a donation from the developers at Parkside Town Commons to support the town's planned grade-separated railroad crossing at Carpenter Fire Station Road. And I'd like to take a moment to explain a little bit more about this. The Carpenter Fire Station Road project will eliminate 2 at-grade crossings with the construction of a new grade-separated crossing. This town project brings incidental benefits to the Parkside developer as they undertake their construction of an at-grade railroad crossing at O'Kelly Chapel Road. To support the town project and to encourage the town to forego federal funds for the project, KRG has offered to donate $1,220,000 to the town. This donation is restricted. The money must be used to benefit the town's project and must be returned to the developers if the town does not pursue this project. This donation is a voluntary act by the developer, and there is no reciprocal obligation placed on the town except to use the funds for the town's project. There is another item, a proposed infrastructure agreement on our agenda for public hearing that relates to this developer. The infrastructure agreement provides its own benefits to the town and is a separate decision for the council to make. So, our next consent agenda item is entering into agreements for 6 projects awarded by Capital Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. The approval of the Yates Store Road alignment and grade separated crossing at Montvale subdivision. Scheduling a public hearing to close a portion of Green Level Church Road, and approving salary grade and title changes for exempt positions. Would any council member like anything pulled from the consent agenda for discussion? If not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion to approve. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. That takes us to public hearings. Same rules for public hearings, or same rules used for public speaks out apply to public hearings with one exception. Speakers now have up to 5 minutes instead of 3 minutes to make their comments. The first item is the budget input public hearing. Mr. Knapp of our staff will present the item. We're going to open the public hearing. Council will not take action on this topic this evening. Mr. Knapp.
Good evening, Council. Tonight's public budget hearing provides an opportunity for citizens to convey their budget priorities for fiscal year 2015, which covers the time period July 1, 2014 through June 30th, 2015. Throughout the year, Cary residents may contact each of you or members of the town staff, but February has been designated as a time of increased focus to solicit public input on priorities for the upcoming budget. Other than this public hearing tonight, citizens have been given the opportunity to express their priorities through a voicemail box at 919-469-4307, or they can send an email to budgetinput@townofcary.org. In addition, we've been accepting input through the town's Facebook page and through the town's Twitter account @townofcary using the hashtag #TOCBudget. These opportunities were announced through a news release on January 31st and are referenced at the town's website, in the utility bill insert BUD, on Cary TV, and on the program BUD TV. To date, we have received comments from 43 Cary residents on a variety of topics. 30 of these comments were received through email, 7 through Facebook, 5 through Twitter, and 1 through voicemail. All priorities received through tomorrow will be compiled into a report for the town manager and the full town council to consider during the fiscal year 2015 budget development process this spring. With that, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you to begin the public hearing.
Very good. This time I'll open up the public hearing on our budget, and I would invite the first speaker forward at this time. Anyone to speak on the budget? Okay. Could I get you to move to your left? Thank you.
I'll wait a second while you guys are passing that out. I meant for them to be all black, but it's pretty hard to find.
We like the pink.
Okay. I was hoping that went over well.
Girls.
My name is Kim Womack, and I am here representing the skate park, Skate Cary, and I'm just kind of setting the stage. These are for all of you to take home, keep with you. It's just some information about our park. The photos in there, I took all but 2. So it's pretty indicative of the athletes that we have at Skate Cary. And I would also like to take a minute to show you the representation we have here, if y'all don't mind if they just stand up. Okay, everybody from Skate Cary, if you'd stand up. Okay. Our purpose is there is an advanced or vert ramp on the budget, and we are truly hoping that you guys will sincerely consider approving that. The athletes at this park really need to take it to the next level. They're a good bunch of kids. I know them all. I know pretty much everybody standing in the audience. It's a good group. Take your time, look through this. Like I said, you're welcome to keep it. Did you have any questions before I turn it over to some of the others?
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to interact.
Oh,
It's
you're
your
not?
time.
Okay, all right, well, all right. Well, let's see. I will go through real quick, see if there's anything. It just tells our mission, what we're hoping that you gain from this. It talks about some of the competitions. It shows some of the pictures. You know, I was here before. We talked about that we travel as a group together. We go, you know, a bunch of us have been to Pennsylvania, to Camp Woodward. We go on a regular basis to Virginia Beach. There's a 13.5-foot vertical ramp there at Mount Trashmore. I think I read some of your bios online. I think a couple of you are from Virginia. Did I get that right? Yes. Did a little bit of homework. The picture there, this guy is actually a pro. His name is Christopher Beaver Fleming. We met him at Camp Woodward. He makes his living at skateboarding. Then it goes on to show some of the kids that are sponsored at Skate Cary, and actually a couple who still or do make their living. So like I said, feel free to look through that, and I'm going to turn it over to some of the other people. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get you to move to your left? Thank you.
Okay. Hello, my name is Beth Warner Sullivan. There is nothing that my kids love more than skateboarding. They love the sport not only for the constant push it gives them to progress or the feeling of learning a new trick, but for the friendship it has brought them, the memories it has given them, and the lessons it has taught them. Skate Cary has been a home for them for over the past 7 years. Its staff members are like a family to them. Skateboarding has grown. Their confidence allowed them to mature and has been a vehicle by which they have been able to travel the country. And they see each of these things continue in their lives of the skateboarders younger than them that are growing up within the fences of Skate Cary. With each passing day, they become much of part of skateboarding as the skateboarding becomes part of them. They need funding to construct more advanced ramps. It is critical in the growth of the lively group of skateboarding. Progression is a driving force in our sport. They are brought closer with each new trick attempted, whether it is successful or not. Today, we only urge you to keep the funding of the more advanced ramp in this year's budget, but also to open a dialogue with the rich community of skateboarders that is growing in our town, and we invite you to stop by Skate Cary anytime to take in firsthand how great our sport really is and to watch the kids literally learn to fly. This year, many of the boys' friends have headed off to college to study in whichever field they may choose. Most of them through skateboarding, and they have often expressed their distress as they realize that studying will take a majority of their time. And while the idea of the next Tony Hawk coming out of a small town in North Carolina may seem far-fetched to most, skateboarding is a sport in which geographic location means nothing and passion means everything. But when you find yourself without a park that prepares you for the big leagues, dreams often fall to the bottom of the barrel. Nobody ever really gets into skateboarding to go pro or to win awards. They do it because they love it. They love the little ball bearing in their wheels, and they love the big air. They love icing our heels, and they love rolling away from a newly learned trick. They love falling down, and they love getting up. And while it may be better to have loved and lost than to never have loved at all, it'd sure be cool to watch a Skate Cary kid go pro and to win awards. Thank you. This is the future right here. My boys love skateboarding, and I'm sure she will want to do what they do. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
This one.
Yes.
Hi there. My name is Brian Wainwright. I've been skating for 37 years. I lived and worked in Cary and around the area since 1984, and it was a lot different place back then. And we built all of our ramps, in our friends' backyards. And anyway, I just think it's an awesome investment what Cary's done so far with the park, and it's great to see it growing. And I see the kids that skate there and have grown up there around the area, and they're exemplary, good guys, and having a lot of fun. And I've been fortunate enough to be a pro at one point, and got to travel internationally, and was even a visiting pro at Camp Woodward that they're talking about up in Pennsylvania. And just the environment that exists, encouraging those kids and seeing them learn and overcome challenges like they do, and that happens in skateboarding and BMXing, and it's just amazing to watch. So I just wanted to encourage y'all to consider this and as a good investment and support the youth. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Cary Council. My name is Ethan Wakegazer, and I have been a member of Skate Cary for the past several years. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak to you tonight. Skateboarding has been my life for the past 3 years. I had tried many different sports, but this is the only one I have found a real passion for. I go to Skate Cary every day that I can and stay there for as many hours as I can. There are no other skate parks in Cary, but I am so glad I had this one. Even though I love going there, my skills have increased to the point where I don't have much of a challenge anymore. My dream is to be a professional skateboarder, and I feel I need to be challenged to get there someday. Having a more advanced ramp at the park would be a dream come true. I literally have been having dreams about it ever since I heard of the idea. It would also help me achieve my goal I've had ever since I stepped into the park. I have had very few chances to skate more advanced ramp outside the state, but when I did, the experience improved my skills significantly. I did not want to leave. Being a skater, I know that all the skaters love changes and where they skate. It gives them an opportunity to learn new tricks and try new things that they could not do before. Learning a new trick is the best feeling in the world, and I think all the skaters in here can agree. Me and all my friends here, as well as the ones who couldn't make it today, thank you for taking this request under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, I'm Jim Law. I'm a Cary resident. Moved here in 2007. Been here ever since, and I've been as much involved in the skate community as I could. I've been skating since let's just say the 70s. Tied in with the skate community. My best friend in all the world is Denny Gunther. He can't be here. And I know some of you who've seen him before. I'm not him. We look alike, but I think he's a much better skater and much better looking. So that being said, I know all the guys, Denny and all the guys that are behind this. And I just wanted to come in and say, I know skateboarding. I ran CCS Skateboard Shop for 3 years over in Crabtree. And I've been tight with the community. I know street skaters. I know vert skaters. That might sound different to you, but this town has produced at least 5 pros in the street arena. Right now, Justin Brock, who's a major pro in the street, scene of skating, Dan Murphy, they all come from this area. We have yet to have somebody really hit it. And I want to say something about Brian, too. He was a pro, and in my eyes, he still is. But it's just an honor to be here with him to see that he's standing up for this, too, because he is a vert skater, and that's a different style of skating, and there's no vert ramp in this area at all. People have to drive, hundreds of miles to go get a real vert ramp. And Skate Cary, I've been there so many times. I love it. I drop my kids off there. Now they're older and they don't skate. I'm the only one that does. So, but Skate Cary is just, it's our home. And I would like to see these kids take it to the next level. And I think they can. Oh man, all these guys out here, I've skated with them since I've been here. I've seen them grow up in skateboarding. And I can tell you, I know pro quality, and a lot of these kids possess that. And if we give them the opportunity with a vert ramp, I think people will drive for hundreds of miles to come see this vert ramp and to see what Cary has. So I'm behind 100%. Thank you for your time and consideration. And I'd just like to say that these kids are so talented. Let's take them to the next level. Let's get them a ramp that they can ride and they can progress, and we'll see them on the X Games. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, please don't applaud. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. I'm Bob Skillman. My son Zach Skillman, who was featured in the book. Just want to first of all show my great appreciation and thank you for the forward thinking that this town council and this town has to provide a skate park the quality it is that we have today. It's probably one of the best skate parks, at least in the state that I know of. We have traveled to many skate parks within the state, and we've also been up to Virginia skate parks. And Zach has also been out into the California skate parks. This is one of the best ones that we have skated at. And what I'd like to do is just promote that we continue to grow this skate park and provide the facilities to take. There's 8 or 10, 12 guys that are ready to go to the next level. And the best thing is what's happening with the popularity of skateboarding from ESPN and the X Games, the street leagues. What you're seeing a lot more younger guys coming in and girls come in, and practice and work on these tricks from a skateboarding perspective, these are young athletes. These are people that are trying to develop skills that are almost at a gymnastics level to do the things that they're doing on a skateboard. If you see some of the pictures in there, you know, those are not normal feats that you can do without practicing, and you've got to have the equipment to do that. And we've got a dozen or so guys that are ready to move to that level. Plus, what's happening, the younger guys are seeing, and there's more looking up to these older guys to get to that level as well. And I would hate to see that if we don't advance this skate park, that these guys have to go elsewhere to advance their skills. And they're young, they're only teenagers. And when Zach started some 7 years ago, there was 2 or 3 older guys, and Jim was one of them that talked earlier, and he was encouraging these younger guys when they were, 8, 9, 10 years old, and they've stuck with it over the years, and now they're ready to move on. So again, we appreciate your forward thinking. Please consider the budget and trying to provide the additional equipment and support. You have an excellent staff there. You have an excellent opportunity. You have an excellent location to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm Tim Stevens, and I've been going to Skate Cary pretty much since I was in kindergarten, and I'm glad to see that, everyone's out here, supporting this cause, and there hasn't been really that many drastic changes, and I think this will be a good one. And as I said, I've been active at Skate Cary for a while. I've also been active with the town of Cary. I did my Eagle Scout project for them, so I'm just kind of glad that things are going in the right direction. Thanks.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, my name is Jen Wakehazer, and Ethan is my son. When I gave birth to that bouncing baby boy in 2000, I thought I would be attending basketball games or football games and talking to the moms about touchdowns and goals and soccer and so on. But now we talk about McTwists and kick flips and grinds and 50, I don't know, it's a whole nother world. But it's his world, and the people we've met through Skate Cary we've lived in 4 states, and I had another son who played tennis, and boy, I tell you, the support these kids give each other there, and the staff there, and the parents, it really is another family for them, and it is a really fast-growing, legitimate sport. And I do think these kids deserve the respect for that sport and the respect that a lot of the kids here get with the amazing soccer fields and lacrosse fields and basketball courts, and my husband and I play tennis. There's tennis courts, so we would really appreciate the opportunity for them to be able to advance and have their sport respected as some of those others are. As I said, Ethan and many of his skate friends have traveled out of the state to get the experience that they need to continue to grow in the sport, and it would just be so amazing to have that here. And it is a wonderful skate park as it is, but this would certainly make a significant difference for them. So again, asking approval to fund this advanced ramp is obviously, it's this going down a 13 or 30-foot vertical ramp, I guess, is about fun. I don't really get it myself, but it's also about being fair and respectful to the kids, and we are also certainly understanding and respectful of budgets too, but would really appreciate that getting on the priority list. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hi, I'm Gabriel Filomena. I am 9 years old. Have been skateboarding at Skate Cary for 3 years and go to the summer camps there. Please let us have a vert ramp. Thanks.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening. My name is Jason Darden, and I'm a resident of Raleigh, but I work at First United Methodist Church here in Cary. I am a youth minister there, and around April of last year, I had a midlife crisis and decided I wanted to start skating again. Yeah, it was that funny to my wife as well. So I did, and when I showed up, I was surprised. I'd never been to the park before, and when I got there, there were families underneath the overhang, talking to one another about school and church and neighborhoods, and their kids were skating. And it was a community. When I first started skating, we stole wood from construction sites. We ran from cops. We avoided adults, and we didn't want them to know what we were doing. It was where a lot of us got involved in things that we later regretted, and it was not a great entry point into adolescence. But now we have a park that is home for a lot of these kids. They literally spend all day Saturday there with lunches and parents checking on them driving by, and guys like Billy and Denny and Jim. Mentoring, building relationships with them, being an adult that speaks into their life and speaks in a positive way. So what does that have to do with the giant ramp? Everything. There are neighborhoods and communities full of youth that don't have those relationships and don't have mentors that speak into their lives. While this ramp will definitely accelerate the ability and the levels that these kids are skating at now, which is incredibly high, it's also a possibility to introduce new kids into something. The mere sight of this ramp, I think it was compared to Trashmore in Virginia Beach. It is a destination point for people. They're going to hear about this ramp and want to come see what this thing looks like. It's going to be beautiful and very well built. And that's exciting because it's not going to be thrown together with stolen wood behind somebody's house, leaning to one side, and dangerous for kids. So, finally, vision. We have signs up on the church walls that say no skating, and that drives me crazy. While I understand it, and I'm an employee, I abide by it. But we find ways to push youth away, and bringing them to a place where not so we can monitor them and make sure we keep tabs on what they're doing, but we can show them that there's a community that's involved in what they're doing, that cares about what they're doing, that has a finger on the pulse of where sports are going. And I have a hard time calling skating a sport because when we first started it, we did it so that because we didn't play sports. We wanted an option from that. Now, they're athletes, and it's amazing. But they're going to be under the gaze of mentors and responsible adults, and that's important, especially today. Thank you for taking the time to consider this. It's huge that we're even having this discussion right now in a place like this, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Hello. My name is Josiah Pierce. I'm 17 years old, and I've been skating at Skate Cary since I was 6. To many people, Skate Cary is my home, and it's mine as well. But in my head, that really doesn't matter tonight. A couple people showing up, maybe 20 plus, that doesn't really show totally why a park needs a multi-million-dollar ramp. I think we need to show you guys that there's much more need than just a couple of people. To put it into perspective, I know we've said a lot of weird words like vert and kickflip and McTwist, but I assume y'all don't really know what that means. Let me kind of put into perspective what this ramp would do and how it would really revolutionize Skate Cary. Right now, Skate Cary is, in baseball terms, Bond Park, a Bond field, like number 1 or 5 in Cary. Putting this vert ramp in would be transforming Skate Cary into something like the USA Baseball Training Complex. I'm sure some of you are aware of that. That's a pretty big deal in baseball terms. I know somebody that came and played a tournament at the USA Fields from Florida. People are aware of the USA training fields. They're not a Bond number 5. If we put a vert ramp in Skate Cary, it's going to put Cary on the map as a place where skaters can come and ride the best terrain possible. It's not just every other skate park you can go and find. These vert ramps are few and far between. And for Cary to be boasting one of these vert ramps is a big deal. And people will flock to this skate park because of it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Anyone else for the public hearing on the budget? Seeing no one, will close the public hearing on the budget. And I'll thank Mr. Knapp for his comments earlier. Where there is. We now move to item 5.2, the public hearing for Parkside Town Commons agreement to coordinate and integrate development of public transportation infrastructure improvements. Ms. Cove of our staff will present this item. We're going to open up the public hearing, and council may take action on this item tonight. Ms. Cove.
Thank you, and good evening, council. This item is to hold a public hearing and consider entering into an infrastructure agreement. This agreement is to coordinate and integrate the development of public transportation infrastructure related to the Parkside Town Commons development. Earlier tonight, as the mayor mentioned, you approved another item related to Parkside. This is a separate action from that item. Just as a refresher, the development is located east of NC 55, north of NC 540, south of Kit Creek Road, and west of the CSX Railroad. In December, during a quasi-judicial public hearing, Town Council approved a revised site plan for this site. As part of that approval, there were a number of required transportation improvements and associated timing of those improvements. One of the more challenging improvements is the extension of a Kelly Chapel Road across the CSX tracks. Since 2008, the developers of Parkside, the town, CSX, and the North Carolina Department of Transportation have been working together to develop a four-party agreement to essentially set forth a plan for coordinating the Kelly Chapel Road Railroad grade crossing. The four-party agreement has not been executed by all parties at this time, but we expect that we would be bringing something back to you in the future. The infrastructure agreement before you tonight is between the town and the developers of Parkside Town Commons. It's essentially to coordinate the O'Kelly Chapel Road crossing, as well as the town's Carpenter Fire Station Road grade separated crossing. Among other things, within the agreement is a provision for a financial guarantee from the developer to the town to ensure that the O'Kelly Chapel crossing can be constructed and approved by the CSX Railroad. We can now hold the public hearing on the agreement, and once that's concluded, staff will present our recommendations.
Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. This time I'll open up the public hearing for the Parkside Town Commons agreement and invite the first speaker forward. Anyone to speak at this public hearing? We'll close the public hearing, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you. And the staff's recommendation is twofold. The first is an adoption of the resolution authorizing staff to enter into the agreement, and the second is to grant staff the authority to make minor adjustments to the agreement prior to execution.
And do we need two separate motions for this?
You can do both of them in one motion.
Okay. Does council have any comments, discussion, or motion?
I just have one comment that I want staff or council to be aware of. Thank you very much, Ms. Cove, for sending me the information on Lewis Stevens Drive. I just wanted all of council to be aware is as you look at the picture of this development, O'Kelly Chapel Road changes the name to Little Drive on the other side of the development. So if you look at that line, you'll see that Little Drive does intersect Lewis Stevens Drive. However, that part of Lewis Stevens Drive, from what I understand, and please correct me if I get this wrong, is in Morrisville. And although many of us on this side of Lewis Stevens and Cary think, oh, that's a great connection to the Preston Villages and 55 and all those great areas, that part of the road is not completed and is not on any transportation plan at this time with a date associated with it.
Funding is not funded. Correct.
So although it's great that there's an at-grade crossing, for people to actually use that road, they'd have to go Little Drive all the way to Davis Drive. There'd be no connection south. So I just want council to be aware of that, because on this map, it's hard to see the entire part of Lewis Stevens and realize that's a road that goes nowhere.
Yeah, Lewis Stevens doesn't.
And so there's no, what you had at one time, is there a funding commitment of any type from Morrisville? I know you all spoke with DOT in Morrisville.
We did. There is not any funding from any agency proposed at this time.
So I just wanted council to be aware of that conversation, because I think a lot of people will think, oh, that's great, I can get there from here. And they'll have to go all the way to Davis Drive to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
We ready for a motion?
Sure. I move that we adopt the resolution authorizing staff to enter into the agreement to coordinate and integrate development of public transportation infrastructure improvements for this project, and that we grant staff the authority to make minor adjustments to the draft agreement.
Second. There's a motion and a second.
I'd just like to speak to it if I might. At least in the 6 years I've served, I don't remember an agreement exactly like this, and so I had a lot of questions for staff about verbiage that was used that I just didn't understand and wanted to understand. And boy, did they do a great job of explaining how this would work on the ground. And I just want to thank them for that, because it's that kind of background information that prevents us from having an hour-long discussion at the table. They're just always prepared to explain what it really is going to look like. And I wanted to just say that.
Thank you. Other comments? We have a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Cook.
Thank you.
We now move to items 5.3 and 5.4, the comprehensive plan amendment and the rezoning request for the STIP property. We'll hear from staff and then the applicant, and then conduct a public hearing on both requests. Council will not act on these items this evening. Instead, we're going to refer them to our Planning and Zoning Board. Ms. Ridling of our staff will make the first presentation.
Good evening. This case is a request to amend Cary's comprehensive plan for a 5-acre site on the north side of Green Hope School Road in northwest Cary. The site is located approximately 2,000 feet west of North Carolina Highway 55 here, and you can see that I-540 is on this side. Here's a closer aerial view of the property. You can see Highcroft Village being constructed over here. Over here is Wake Memorial Park Cemetery, and Green Hope School Road here. Property owners within 400 feet of the site were notified by mail of this request and the public hearing. The site was posted with a public hearing sign, and an ad was posted on the town's website. The existing zoning is R40. Cary's GIS maps indicate a stream buffer requirement may impact the northern portion of this property. A field determination will be required at the time of site plan review. This slide shows that the Green Hope School Greenway is running along the west side of the property. And according to the town's comprehensive transportation plan, Green Hope School Road is designated as a major thoroughfare. The existing road is 2 lanes, undivided in a 65-foot right-of-way. The future road is planned to be 3 lanes in a 70-foot right-of-way. Sidewalk is required on both sides. There are currently no existing or planned bus routes along Green Hope School Road. The closest bus service is a Triangle Transit route on Highway 55. The governing element of Cary's comprehensive land use plan in this area is the Southwest Area Plan. The plan currently recommends mixed-use development for this site. Mixed use is defined by the plan as a mixture of commercial, office, and medium to high-density residential uses. With this CPA case, the applicants are requesting that the future land use designation of this site be changed from mixed use to simply medium density residential, which is defined as 3 to 8 dwelling units per acre. This concludes the presentation of the comprehensive plan amendment request, and I'll now turn this over to Mary Bierman, who will describe the associated rezoning request.
Thank you. As Anna mentioned, there is an associated rezoning request, number 13 REZ 28. The existing zoning of the property is residential 40. This shows the zoning in the area and also highlights some planned development districts that are in the vicinity. You'll note that adjacent to the site is a portion of the Highcroft Village Planned Development District, and just for reference, the zoning restrictions related to this, the portion of the adjacent Planned Development District allows 5 units per acre and 5,000 square foot minimum lot size in this area. The proposed zoning district is transitional residential conditional use. The proposed zoning conditions limit the allowable land uses to detached dwellings at a density of no more than 3.9 units per acre, and also neighborhood recreation uses. A traffic study was conducted. The traffic mitigations that were recommended by the study are included as zoning conditions, and this includes a left turn lane on Green Hope School Road. Again, this shows the map of the properties that were notified of the hearing. And you'll notice the property that's the subject of this rezoning case is this 5-acre portion to the north. The property boundary, the total parcel that is, the area shown in red is the total property boundary. This rezoning request is a portion of that parcel. So the boundary used for notification purposes was based on the entire area outlined in red. You may recall as well, you recently heard a rezoning request that's in process for the property to the south as well. That came before you at a public hearing on January the 30th. We'll be going to the Planning and Zoning Board in March, and then that will come back to you shortly as well. We did receive one protest petition for this rezoning case. That protest was not valid on 2 accounts. One, it's outside of the 100-foot buffer from the property, and also it was received after the deadline for protest petitions. In terms of citizen feedback, we did not receive any real calls expressing concern about this case. I think there were a couple of calls just for information. The concerns that were expressed in the protest petition included concern with increased traffic, general overcrowding in the area, oversupply of housing, and decrease in property values. And that concludes staff's comments. At this point, I will call on the applicant to summarize the request.
Could the applicant please come forward?
Mayor and council members, my name is Chris Raleigh. I've been asked to speak on behalf of the Stitt family this evening. With regard to the comprehensive plan change, obviously I'm here to speak in favor of the request. As it's already been pointed out, the properties that surround the Stitt property to the north have been changed over the past couple of years. In 2005 and in 2008, this is reflected in the staff report, there were other mixed-use properties that surrounded this one that were modified. The Stitt property was not included in any of those modifications. And so at this point, we're left with a parcel that is somewhat of a remnant to an old plan. And so the Stitts are just asking that this property would be changed so that it's consistent with all of the uses that are around it. I'd ask that each of you vote in favor of this comprehensive plan because the town has already changed the designation of the surrounding properties, and this property needs to be changed for consistency's sake. With regard to the rezoning, once again, I'm here to speak in favor of it. The Stitt family has owned this property on the north side of Green Hope School Road for a long time. And during this period, they've watched the town implement planning designations through long-range plans and comprehensive plans. They've seen these comprehensive plans appropriately be modified over time as West Cary has developed over the years. They've seen all the property around them change in zoning designation as well. All of the surrounding properties have been developed at this point, and the Stitt North property is now bounded by medium-density residential. The Stitts are simply asking to change the designation of this property so it's consistent, not just with the surrounding zonings, but consistent with the actual physical development that's already on the ground. We've held 2 information sessions where we've invited all of the property owners that surround us to come hear about the project. The only people who were in attendance at those meetings and on both occasions were myself, our consultants, and members of the Stitt family. We didn't have any participation from any neighbors. As noted in the staff report, we were not required to do a traffic study for this project. We did include it in our traffic study for the adjacent property to the south. As a result of us including a property that was not required to have a traffic study, in that study, we are being asked to do certain improvements, and we have committed to doing all of those improvements with this project. We believe this is a straightforward zoning request, and I would ask that each of you vote in favor of this when the time comes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. If there's nothing further from staff, I'll go ahead and open the public hearing. Okay, this time I'll open up the public hearing and invite the first speaker forward to speak either on the comprehensive plan amendment or the rezoning request. Anyone to speak at this public hearing? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing, open it up to council members for questions, comments. None? Okay, we're going to forward this to the Planning and Zoning Board for their consideration, and we'll see this again in the future. Thanks, Ms. Beard. We now move to item 5.5. It's the Stevens Road rezoning request. We're going to hear staff's report, allow the applicant to explain the request, conduct a public hearing, and council will not take action tonight. Instead, we're going to refer it to the Planning and Zoning Board. Ms. Grant.
Thank you. For your consideration is a request to rezone 2 parcels located at 2300 and 2400 Stevens Road on approximately 7.77 acres. Subject property is highlighted here in yellow, located on the north side of Stevens Road. An aerial view shows the property is heavily wooded. One parcel is vacant, and the adjacent parcel is developed with a single-family detached residential home. Cary's land use plan designation for the property is low-density residential. The existing zoning is residential 40. And the applicant has proposed a zoning of residential 8 conditional use. The condition proposed by the applicant would limit the lot size, would limit the density to 3 dwelling units per acre. This slide shows you the location of planned development districts in the immediate vicinity of the subject property. And this is the slide with the zoning condition. Density shall be limited to a maximum of 3 dwelling units per acre. Property owners within 400 feet of the subject property were notified by mail. The property was posted and advertised on Cary's website. There were 4 protest petitions submitted. The properties highlighted in yellow are valid protest petitions. There is an overall valid protest petition. The property highlighted in blue arrived after the deadline, but we have still counted their comments in our report. And that is that citizens are concerned about connectivity from the subject property to Forest Park Way, the road to the north of the property. There's concerns about traffic on Stevens Road and the density and lot size of the proposed development. Because it is such a hot topic and we've heard from so many citizens about connectivity, staff wanted to provide a little bit of history about this road and just give you a more clear picture. Subject property is located here, highlighted in red. There is a cul-de-sac. The Forest Park Way road ends in a cul-de-sac physically that stops approximately 20 to 25 feet from the property line. The public right-of-way does go up to the property line. The neighborhood, the Wellington Park neighborhood, was part of a PDD that showed this road coming through as a future connection point from the Wellington Park neighborhood to Stevens. That being said, it's still something that the neighbors are very concerned about and have asked for zoning conditions to prohibit the connectivity. And staff has explained to the citizens that these are issues that need to be evaluated at the time of site plan review. But we just wanted you to be aware of it and give you a little background. The site is not impacted according to Cary's GIS maps by any stream buffers or floodways. And again, at the time of site plan review, this is something that would need to be field determined. Cary's comprehensive transportation plan identifies Stevens Road as a collector roadway. There would be required road improvements and additional right-of-way dedication on that road. It would be required to have a 30-foot streetscape. Cary's Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Resources Master Plan shows a future greenway trail along the northern portion of the property. And there is a proposed future C-Tran route along Piney Plains Road in close proximity to the subject property, highlighted here in green. This concludes staff's presentation. I'd like to ask the applicant to come forward, please, and then following the public hearing, I'm available for your questions.
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. My name is Glenda Top with Glenda S. Top and Associates, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the property owners. Would like to thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight and speaking in favor of the request. As staff has pointed out, the current zoning is R40. We are asking for R8 conditional use. The zoning condition will limit the maximum density to 3 units per acre. The land use plan designation for this property is low density, which would, the 3 units per acre would make us in conformance with the comprehensive plan. Do want to note that the maximum number of units that we are proposing on the site is 19, which would take that density down to roughly 2.5 units per acre. And as we go through the process, can offer that as an additional condition since we cannot meet the 3 units per acre. Again, the request is consistent with the comprehensive plan amendment. In looking at the surrounding properties in the area, we felt that R8 was an appropriate zoning district. The minimum lot sizes would be 8,000 square feet, and we also thought it was important with the R8. The setbacks associated with R8 also would allow the development to be more consistent with the development in the area. A neighborhood meeting was held. We did invite property owners with 400 feet. The majority of the property owners who came to the meeting were pleased with the use proposed and the density proposed. They felt that single-family detached residential was appropriate for the location. They were pleased that we were not coming in with something not in conformance with the land use plan. However, the big concern of the residents attending the meeting was the connection, or is the connection that has been planned for Forest Parkway from Wellington through this property to Stevens Road. Concerns were expressed about increased traffic, concern with children playing on the street. As we pointed out to the property owners, that the town's transportation plan does show the connection. We are required to comply with the town's connectivity policy and to follow the town's comprehensive plan. And as staff pointed out, typically those are things that are addressed not at zoning but at site plan. The plan that we envision is not dependent upon the connection. So if the town decided that the connection was not needed, it's not something that we need to make our development work. But again, we do understand that we have to comply with the town's requirements. In summary, I would like to just close by saying that we do believe that the site is of adequate size to accommodate the proposed use. We are compatible with the comprehensive plan. We do believe that the proposed use is appropriate for the area and that it will maintain the sense of community and neighborhood that is there currently. That concludes my presentation, and we'll be happy to answer any questions of council. Thank you.
This time I'll open up the public hearing for the Stevens Road rezoning request and invite the first speaker forward.
Good evening. My name is Tracy Philomena. I live directly across from this property at 2313 Stevens Road. I respectfully request the denial of the rezoning from R40 to R8. As a homeowner and a mom, I would like to see the more conservative zoning request be considered of R12 or R20. Ideally, I'd like to keep it at R40. My concerns are safety and traffic. I also have some environmental concerns as well as general quality of life concerns. I grew up on Stevens Road, and I now own a home next to my mother. I've watched this side of Cary grow, explode with growth and development, some of which is desirable, some of which, in my opinion, is too dense. Stevens Road is currently a small treasure island of natural green space in a sea of shopping areas, highways, and dense development. It is a dead-end road with a close-knit community and many children playing outside, running through the woods, and riding bikes and skateboards along the road. My house is directly across from this property. While I am not opposed to development, I do have concerns with the development of this site, and rezoning is the first part of this step. Regarding traffic and safety, once this site is rezoned, houses being built, as well as the street connecting to Wellington Park. Again, this road is directly across from my property. The road is planned based off of what I have seen to come right at the edge of my property line and dead end at my driveway. If this rezoning and subsequently the road are approved, I get to look forward to headlights in my bedroom and many people using Stevens Road as a shortcut to Crossroads Plaza and back and forth to Wellington Park. I've been told this connection is a must for safety, and I'm curious how much this has impacted the safety of Wellington Park for the last 25 years that this road has not been there. For me, it means people rolling through stop signs. Prestwick was there, and now we have people rolling through that stop sign, and we've almost had several collisions with Prestwick. Speeding to get to work on time, to go shopping, unnecessary traffic on Stevens Road, the potential to hitting one of our children, more loud cars and car stereos, and I won't benefit at all from this road. I imagine people purchasing new homes on this site would also not like to have a thoroughfare through their neighborhood as well. I would probably prefer to live on a dead-end road too. Having a road through this property does not help with safety. It makes it more dangerous for my family and for others in my neighborhood. I also have some environmental concerns. There's an endangered plant, the lady slipper, which grows on this tract of woods, as well as many large trees, owls, deer, fox, and other wildlife that my children have the opportunity of watching and learning about. There's a good amount of natural green space on Stevens Road in the midst of building and parking lots. Green space is good for water quality, erosion control, and air quality. It's also a natural buffer for noise. This will all go away once this property is developed. The larger the lot size, the more trees that will hopefully remain, and the larger the buffer and the more wildlife that can still enjoy this area. Let's speak to the quality of life. I wake up each morning to the sound of US 1 and birds chirping. I end my day with the sound of US 1 and toads croaking. Adding any houses and cutting down any trees will increase the sound of US 1 and reduce the birds and toads as well as the deer and other wildlife. I have more cars to compete with coming out of my driveway and headlights again in my bedroom window. I'll have to worry about cars not stopping at stop signs and ending up in my yard or possibly in my house. I'll have to worry about my young children walking to the bus stop in the morning. There's a partial sidewalk along Prestwick, but otherwise there are no other sidewalks on Stevens Road. More houses and people. This is not what we want, and it's not what we need. I'd like to see Cary consider something much less dense with a half-acre or larger lot sizes to match what's surrounding this tract of land. All of us are zoned R40 along Stevens Road around this property, and R8 offers lot sizes that are too small for my consideration. While I understand it is in the best interest of property owners and the developers a way of making money and increasing town's tax base, I respectfully request you deny the rezoning request and maintain the current zoning of R40. Please let the health of our environment, the safety of our children, and the overall quality of life for current and established residents and citizens guide your decision. Please deny the rezoning request from R40 to R8. Thank you for your time tonight, and I wish everyone a blessed evening.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
I'm James Center, and I own the property across the street from the development they're talking about. And I'd rather see it R12. I had to see it R8. I think R12 is good for 3 houses and gives plenty of usage for the other. I have concerns about the water runaway on it. The road ditch in front of that property has a pipe that runs under the road at the corner of my property and runs down my property and out behind my garage of my house, back behind my house. This drainage will change because they're going to be putting in a wider street with curbs and so on like that. The water drain is going to come directly into Wellington Park behind me, across the back of my land. The pipe is, about so big, concrete pipe. There's no easement on my property for the pipe. I presume before the road was ever state or county, it was put in by individuals. And so I don't know if the pipe should even be there. I do know it's a problem now, and to do any development on that property is going to make it twice as bad. I'm also totally against joining the Forest Parkway into our street. Our street is a one-way street, pretty much. There's no lines on it. It's a narrow street. Like my daughter said, the traffic will be coming out right straight at her house. We don't need the traffic. It'll change the traffic on our road to 100 cars an hour. And that street can't handle 100 cars an hour. And that's pretty much all I've got to say, and I appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Anyone else for this public hearing? Okay, we'll close the public hearing. Council members have questions or comments?
I'd like to know more about the cul-de-sac where the possible future connection is. Some of the pictures look like a cul-de-sac, but cul-de-sac with a stub. Is there currently a stub in the cul-de-sac?
The right-of-way, the public right-of-way goes all the way to the property line.
Understood that. I just wanted to know, did it look like a future connection, or does it just look like a cul-de-sac?
It looks like a cul-de-sac.
Okay. And to help me better understand the process, I understand, I'm talking site plan. I got that. But if they wanted to request eliminating the connection, how would that, they would definitely have to come back to us for quasi-judicial?
Correct. The plan presented to staff for review would look for that connectivity. That would be a requirement per our ordinance to look for the property to connect to the north, south, east, and west, and to make sure they meet the connectivity index. We don't have a site plan in front of us to review yet, but staff would, if there were environmental impacts, which we're not aware of, that there are any environmental impacts that would prohibit the connectivity, then we would deny the plan. Staff would deny the plan.
And on every PDD approval and for, I don't know how long, it's always shown a future connection through this property.
The Wellington Park PDD from the 1980s did show that this was a future connection
Always
point.
be connected to Stevens Road. Okay, that's all I got.
I got one question. One of the comments that came up is the concern about drainage. As I understand it, as we go through this process, part of our guidelines are that they have to mitigate so that the situation cannot get worse.
They have to mitigate to pre-development conditions,
Right.
correct?
Okay. I just want to make sure that the public understands that.
And I'd like to follow up on what Mr. France said to make that perfectly clear. Based on our current ordinance with the connectivity, we can't at rezoning time deal with connectivity. It has to be done through a quasi-judicial process. Given our current ordinance, we may change our ordinance in the future, but that's the way I understand it currently.
Correct.
Okay. And that's why we don't deal with it rezoned.
That's great.
Other questions or comments?
Well, just to follow up on that, so if that decision comes before us, it will be in the form of a quasi-judicial.
That's right.
And it'll have to meet real strict legal guidelines.
That's right.
A question about, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was pointing him in the direction.
Just a question about Stevens Road. It looks like Forest Parkway is a town-maintained road. Is Stevens Road a town-maintained road as well?
I believe that it is. Let me,
I was just curious about
It's
the
not
comment.
curb and gutter, is it? No,
Correct.
I didn't think it
No,
was.
I don't think so.
Jack and I drive by it every day, multiple times.
Well, I was just curious about, the comment about that it's a narrow road and doesn't meet the town guidelines and all of that.
I'll be happy to get back to you on that unless someone has, well,
Okay.
we can certainly answer that question for you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, this will be forwarded to the Planning and Zoning Board. Do we have an idea when they would see this?
The applicant offered a new condition tonight, so
Okay.
this is going to trigger a second public hearing. So it will be probably May.
Okay, very good. So those that are interested, this will go to the Planning and Zoning Board, which is an advisory board of citizens, and at that time you'll have another public hearing where you can express your concerns and your comments. Okay, thank you. We're now moving to item 5.6 and 5.7, the annexation rezoning request for the Howard Emerson property. We're going to hear reports from our staff, then the applicant, and conduct a public hearing on both of these requests. Council will not take action on this item this evening. We're going to refer it to our Planning and Zoning Board, and staff will bring the annexation to us at a future agenda with the rezoning. Ms. Bierman.
This is the public hearing on a request to annex and apply the initial Town of Cary zoning to about 59 acres located at the intersection of Marsville Parkway and White Oak Church Road. Properties located on both sides of White Oak Church Road on the south side of Marsville Parkway. Here you can see the location and proximity to the boundary of Wake and Chatham counties. This green line is the American Tobacco Trail, and then the future Rafferty Park site. You can see abutting the property as well. The site currently contains a residence and various farm buildings. These were part of the historic Yates Farm. This farm complex is on the Wake County Historic Inventory and on the National Register study list. This shows the annexation map. You can see the site in the context of the existing corporate limits shown in yellow. The existing zoning on the property is R40 in Wake County. The proposed zoning is R40 conditional use, would also be in the watershed overlay district for Jordan Lake and also the conservation residential overlay district. The zoning conditions that are proposed would limit land uses to a maximum of 48 detached dwellings. Also included on the property could be religious assembly use with the maximum area of 20,000 square feet. And in the event that the religious assembly was built on the property, the maximum number of any children or students that would be in an accessory school or daycare associated with that would be 38. Property is in the Southwest Area Plan. The plan designation is Conservation Residential Very Low Density. There are a couple of options that are permitted in this designation. A conventional subdivision could be allowed with 40,000 square foot, a 40,000 square foot minimum lot size, or a conservation subdivision, which allows smaller lot sizes that could be as small as 15,000 square feet with additional open space provided with an overall density cap of 1.5 units per acre. This shows the Conservation Residential Overlay District that works hand in hand with the land use plan designation. You can see the boundary of the existing overlay district in the blue, and then in the dotted line is where this would be extended to include the subject property. According to Cary's GIS maps, a portion of the property is impacted by stream buffers. A field determination would be made of this at the time of the site plan review. This shows, for Cary Parks and Greenways plan, you can see again here the American Tobacco Trail and the future Rafferty Park site and the trailhead area for the access to the American Tobacco Trail. The comprehensive transportation plan shows an extension of Yates Store Road that was on your consent agenda earlier this evening, an item related to that extension that would line up with White Oak Church Road as a major thoroughfare. The future section for this thoroughfare connection would be a 4-lane median divided rural cross section. And also the future section for Morrisville Parkway, which runs along the northern boundary of the site, would be a 4-lane median divided rural section east of the intersection and a 2-lane undivided section to the west of the intersection. This shows the notification map for parcels that were notified of the public hearing. A protest petition is not applicable since this is initial zoning. We did receive several calls requesting information with no real concerns expressed in most calls. We did have one citizen question the impact of this request on the options for the Yates Store Road extension. That concludes my comments, and I would now call on the applicant to speak.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. My name is Ed Tang with Withers and Ravenel at 115 McKeenan Drive in Cary. I'm here tonight to represent the applicant, who is the contract purchaser of the Howard and Emerson tracts, which is Northwest Community Church. The request before you tonight is to annex and rezone approximately 60 acres known as the Howard Emerson tracts, located, as the staff has indicated, at Morrisville Parkway and White Oak Church Road. Currently, the property is located within Wake County's jurisdiction. But in order for it to develop, the property must be annexed into the town limits and then assigned a base zoning district within the town zoning ordinance. The request is to rezone the property from R40 Wake County to the town's R40 base zoning. And this is consistent with the town's comprehensive land use plan for conservation residential very low density within the Southwest Area Plan. Development of a religious assembly facility on approximately, right now we're looking at approximately 20 acres, is allowed in the R40 zoning district. And development of a single-family detached product or homes are allowed under the R40 as well, in accordance with the Conservation Overlay District guidelines contained in the LDO. The rezoning conditions being offered for the property will allow for a church, campus, and residential single-family subdivision to be developed in accordance with the LDO. A traffic study was not required based on the proposed zoning conditions. Utilities will be extended to serve the site, and roadway improvements to widen Morrisville Parkway and White Oak Church Road will be done in accordance with the CTP. We held a required neighborhood meeting in November, and those that were in attendance had concerns about when public utilities would be extended and made available, the road widening, connectivity issues, and the type of residential development that would be allowed. In conclusion, the request before you tonight conforms to the standard practice, as staff has mentioned, of bringing in parcels outside of Cary's ETJ into conformance with the Southwest Area Plan. It is consistent with the land use plan and also consistent with the surrounding zoning for properties within this area. I'm here tonight with the applicant and will be available to answer any questions at the conclusion of the hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. This time I'll open up the public hearing, and I would invite the first speaker forward.
Good evening, Mayor and Town Council. My name is Brian Eisner, and I live at 318 Bridgegate Drive in Cary Park. My family and I have had the privilege actually of living in Cary since 1995. I moved here to go on staff with a larger church across town and was there for 11 years. And then in 2007, we started a church at Panther Creek High School, and we've been there for the last 7 years and grown to a congregation of about 500. And we're to the point now where I think the school's beginning to ask questions about what our plans are next. And several months ago, we found that this piece of land would become available. And we've been in the process of talking with the Howard family since late spring last year. And now we're here to begin the process of annexation and rezoning of the property so that we might use it for that purpose. Tell you a little bit about our church. We have personally, our family has benefited from living in the town of Cary. I said when we first met with staff last summer, it's been a great place personally for me to raise my 3 kids, and I appreciate so much the quality of life that has been provided for my family. I love the town of Cary, have had a privilege of serving in this community since, as I said, 1995. And our church ministry, we're a little bit unique, at least I hope we're a little bit unique in our philosophy and our strategy. We obviously want to build a facility that will be of benefit to those that currently attend Northwest Community Church, while at the same time we really want to be a blessing in this community. I know a lot of times church facilities are known to be places for those particular congregants and not as friendly necessarily towards other people in the town to use facilities and amenities that campus provides. And we have a much bigger vision than just a facility that'll be used for the benefit of our congregants. We really want this to be a facility that'll be a blessing and a benefit to those that are in our Northwest Cary community. Obviously, you know, it's strategically located right there by the Tobacco Trail, and we've had some at least initial conversations with the town about the possibility of providing parking and those kind of things for the benefit of those that use the trail. I do on occasion myself, and parking is at a premium on certain days of the week. And we're going to be happy to provide those kind of amenities as well as various other things. So thank you for the time to at least introduce a little bit about our church. Our website, I think you have our web address, and I invite you to go there and look a little more intrinsically at who we are and what we desire to do and be in this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please. Anyone else for this public hearing? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing, open it up to council members for questions or comments.
Well, I guess I can just say that this is our obligatory historic property rezoning for this council meeting. It seems we get one each meeting. This one is a very difficult one because usually we have a piece of property with an historic house on it. This is not quite that. This encompasses, as Mrs. Bierman mentioned, the historic Yates Farm, which in and of itself is on the, and I see she put the slide back up here for us, which is on the National Register study list. So it's not something where there's an easy answer, oh, let's try to move this house. I don't know how to go about this, and I trust that the Planning and Zoning Board will take this into consideration when they deliberate this, and the staff will offer some advice. I have no problem, particularly from what I see here, with the use of the land as being proposed. I don't object to that at all. It's just that, unfortunately, this is the Yates Farm. So I just bring that up to remind us all and to remind the Planning and Zoning Board to take a look at this when the time comes. Certainly, if there's anything that we can do to work out or talk about this, I'd be happy to do so.
Okay, other comments? All right, this will go to a future Planning and Zoning Board meeting. I'm not going to guess which one that will be.
Possibly March.
Possibly March, okay. Very good, thank you, Ms. Pearman. We now move to our discussion items. At the beginning of the meeting, we removed items 6.1 and 6.2 from the agenda at the applicant's request. We'll see these items at a future agenda. So that takes us to item 6.3. It's a rezoning request for Indian Wells properties. Staff's going to give a report, then we're going to hear from the Planning and Zoning Board's representative, and then council may take action tonight. Ms. Grant.
Thank you. This is a request for approximately 29.45 acres located on both the north and south sides of Indian Wells Road. Subject properties highlighted here in yellow. And an aerial view shows that it's a combination of vacant parcels and parcels developed with detached residential homes. Cary's land use plan designation for the property is both medium-density residential and parks and open space. The existing zoning is residential 40, and the applicant has proposed a zoning designation of residential 8 conditional use. Conditions proposed by the applicant at the initial public hearing were to limit the density to 3 dwelling units per acre, limit the use to detached residential, provide a minimum 20-foot wide perimeter buffer in common open space along the western property line. There were a number of citizens who spoke about concerns with the buffer. There was an updated report presented to the Planning and Zoning Board that helped clarify that some clearing that was reported to you at the public hearing was actually taking place on the adjacent property and was related to utility line easements. Concerns expressed about tree protection and buffer clearing, and there were no protest petitions. And this is the slide that we presented to the Planning and Zoning Board that showed the sewer line extension, and then there's a summary of this in the staff report as well. And the citizens who had spoke about the tree clearing actually came back to the Planning and Zoning Board public hearing and voiced their support for the request. The applicant also provided additional zoning conditions that enhanced the open space requirement and provided a certain amount of open space there in addition to the buffer, and offered areas not designated as permanent open space. There is a minimum density of 2.75 dwelling units per acre, so that this would still meet the land use plan requirement for medium density residential. The applicant provided an exhibit to show the open space area adjacent to the Cameron Pond subdivision and show the perimeter buffer along the western property line. And also, this depicts the open space where there are existing stream buffers on the subject property. The Planning and Zoning Board recommended the request for approval with a vote of 7-1. And at this time, I'd like to ask the board chair to come forward and describe their discussions. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't even see Al come in.
It's supposed to be that hard to get down here. As you've been told, our vote on this case was to recommend for approval, an 8-1 vote. In favor of the proposal, we had comments such as, it looks like a really good transition plan. We thought the developer was making some very reasonable concessions, particularly to the people over in Cameron Pond who had some concerns, and we were really glad that the issues around the sewer easement and the clearing in that area were sorted out. And we did hear from several neighbors that actually, from Cameron Pond, that actually came and spoke in support of the project, which you don't very often hear when you have a neighboring community. The one member who had a problem with this had a problem with the connectivity on Indian Wells Road. The issue there is we're going to have one point of access, one road of access, and there's going to be a cumulative traffic impact on that access road that, frankly, there wasn't an easy way to mitigate.
Questions or comments from council members?
Yeah, I just want to point out, I guess one of the conditions here, the fifth condition, areas which are not designated as permanent open space shall be developed with a minimum density of 2.75 dwelling units per acre. Just bring up the fact that we had a rezoning. I think I know why this is in here, but we had a rezoning or a site plan, I guess, about a month ago, which was the result of a rezoning from a number of years ago, where there was a minimum density, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, we were concerned.
And we didn't like that because, and what happened in order for the developer to develop to this minimum density, they were constrained. They had to do it. They couldn't help it. But there was a champion tree or two that needed to be removed, and perhaps some buffers that needed to be reduced. And I one, Mrs. Grannon, if you could kind of explain to us a little bit about that condition, because I think I understand why it's.
We've also had some cases with zoning conditions saying the density shall be a certain amount, which that makes it very difficult to meet that zoning condition at the time of site plan. This gives the applicant a little bit of wiggle room. Their goal is to get as close to 3 dwelling units per acre as possible. And, that is the objective. If they're not able to achieve this in getting close to that minimum density, they would have needed to go through a comprehensive plan amendment. So they've done their due diligence on the site and have a pretty good idea of what their yield is going to be.
Okay, that's what I figured. We had to comply with the 3 to 8, so this is in here. I'm just hoping 2.75 is enough, that it shouldn't maybe be 2.5. I hope there's enough wiggle room, in other words, in this condition, so we don't wind up with an issue like we had a month ago. So that's
Or it may come back then, if that's the case. It would require an amendment.
Okay. Thank you.
Other comments? Mr. France?
Make a motion to approve 13-REZ23.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms.
Follow
Green.
that up with a motion to approve the comprehensive plan consistency statement for 13-REZ23.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Grant.
Thank you.
We now move to item 6.5. It's the Walnut Street pedestrian and traffic improvement options. Ms. Cove will present this item, and then council may take action this evening.
Thank you again. The items for your consideration tonight are additional project features in the Walnut Street Pedestrian and Traffic Improvements Project. It's one of our bond projects. This is an overview of the project, as you can see here. Just for reference, the north-south road in the middle is US 164. Crossroads is to the right. There are, as we've worked through the design and our public input process, we've recognized several design opportunities, and we want to present those to you tonight. There's 6 features that we're recommending be included in the project, and we'll walk through them one at a time with more details. The project adds sidewalk essentially on the north side of the Walnut Street Bridge, closest to the flyover. You can see here. There's not sidewalk on the bridge currently, but there is quite a bit of pedestrian traffic that uses that bridge. DOT requires fencing, both to protect pedestrians as well as to help prevent objects from being dropped from the actual bridge. This picture shows that fencing. On the left side of the picture, if you can see here, is the fencing. This next slide shows what DOT's standard fencing would look like. Staff is recommending a black vinyl coating added to that fencing. We're required to still have that same shape, but we're recommending enhancements to the black vinyl coating. So that's the first item. The second item is landscaping in the median, not including the actual bridge. And the standard NCDOT landscaping is it's just grass. Staff's recommendation is enhancing that landscaping, and this shows a draft landscaping plan. We're still working on that with DOT. But we would look to add additional landscaping in this area. Lost my mouse. This area in the median, a little bit here, and then some on the edges. The third item is a decorative concrete island on the bridge. Unfortunately, the bridge was not designed to accommodate the weight of landscaping, which is why you didn't see anything on this slide. However, it was designed to accommodate a concrete island, and staff is recommending some enhancements to a standard concrete island. So staff is recommending using a stamped concrete pattern shown here with a square concrete curb. In addition to the stamped pattern, we're recommending using the color palette you see here, essentially because it provides a contrast against the existing bridge, the concrete whitish color on the bridge. The fourth item is decorative safety railing, only where railing is necessary, of course, but we're recommending this decorative safety railing. The primary location is on Buck Jones Road, is where we currently anticipate needing that safety railing. The fifth item is 2 additional sidewalk connections that during the public involvement process were brought up, and we are recommending those. The first is a 240-foot section shown here. It's essentially connecting the Red Lobster area across Walnut Street and going down on the south side to Piney Plains. And the second area of sidewalk is on the other side of US 61, US 164. And it's essentially filling in some gaps, as you can see here in the green. There's missing gaps there. And the last item is traffic and pedestrian signal upgrades. We're recommending that the wood pole signal that's near the Red Lobster be upgraded to our town standard shown here, which is the metal mast arm pole, as well as pedestrian signal accommodations added to both this location at the Red Lobster, as well as the location on Buck Jones and Walnut Street. So this final slide summarizes the 6 items that are being recommended by staff. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Can you tell us where the funding came for this?
This is the Cary Community Investment Bonds.
Thank you.
And with these additions, we're still in budget?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Help me understand how the bridge can hold cars and concrete but not landscaping?
It was just that the structure design did not accommodate that, and actually the dirt and trees are pretty heavy.
There's a lot of cars that sit on that bridge.
It's designed for the cars. It's just not the additional design of the weight for the landscaping.
Okay.
So.
I'll take your word for it because you're
She's the engineer. It is a DOT designed bridge, but we looked at their design plans and discussed that with them.
Okay.
It
It's
is a
just
little
baffling. It's multi-lane bridge, cars get backed up, sit there on it, and
Yeah, there's a little
never fell down.
counterintuitive, but I believe the engineer.
Okay.
Other questions?
Are there any pedestrian signals associated with any of the, I saw the new crosswalk. Are there
Yes.
signals?
We are doing signal upgrades at both the location at the off-ramp near Red Lobster as well as at Buck Jones.
Were there any comments from citizens about asking for additional support for persons with disabilities? You know, I've heard from a number of them asking for like beeping so that they, people with visually impaired can walk. Did you hear any comments about that?
We've definitely heard that at other locations, and we've been able to accommodate that. I'm not aware that we've heard anything at these locations, but we could always add that to the signal.
I think, yeah, I would like to see that more as a standard since we have a larger and larger senior population.
I would support that, especially if it it'll keep us in budget still, right?
Maybe I should clarify. Were you asking about the ones that talk or just the countdowns?
The beep.
The beep.
That sounds like a bird.
Yeah, so that they can hear it, so they know it's time to cross, because they can't see the light at the other end of that 4-lane or 6-lane street.
Yes, we have not included that as a standard. We do it on request, which is pretty much what most municipalities do. There's a concern if you get it at every location that it might not be necessary at every location, and then you get some noise complaints as well.
So you didn't hear that specific request in the public comments?
I did not at this location, but I can look back at the comments.
Yeah, I'd be interested in what the cost, because we've heard that for a number of pedestrian signals out west. And with the new senior communities that are coming down by Crossroads, Cary Town Center, it seems like that population is moving there.
Okay.
And the thing I would just add is that I know that we had a complaint from a citizen, maybe more than one, just one I remember, about the beeping, but that's near residential, and this is not.
That's
I
right.
can't imagine it would bother anyone. It could only be helpful, and even though today it may not seem necessary, population's aging all the time, it seems like a normal thing to make a standard, except for heavily residential areas.
Right.
It just seems like a good thing to do. I appreciate you're going back and looking for comments, but even if they aren't there, you're hearing them here. And if it would not put us over budget, and I'd like to know how much it would if it were to, I think it's something that's worth considering, actually.
I would like for it to come back. I wouldn't
Yes,
make it-
sure. I
because
hate to
do
hold it
know
up.
There's restaurants on one of those crossings, and it's actually a new restaurant. They haven't opened yet, and I can imagine, it's Jasmine, I think, is at the tail
Oh,
of
okay.
one of those. And I can imagine opening a new restaurant and you put a beep, beep, beep outside.
It doesn't be,
It doesn't
Just saying, I would like the information.
okay.
And if it doesn't bother, hey, I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I think those are all, laudable things that we should pursue, but this is an area that's the remnants of some things that were half completed in the 80s, and it's just a tough area. I think this is a good start to get us going, and, I fully support all the ideas that I'm hearing, but I think it'll be a lot more complex than it is on some of the more simpler designs that you have out in the more suburban areas. This is kind of a Looney Tune area, that's all I can tell you. But I'm excited to see that the planning is starting to go in and we're providing some relief. And, like you, the mayor, I think we just got to really think that through, how we can add those elements to it. I think those are fair comments.
I was just going to.
But like you said, those sounds, I mean.
I don't think that sounds going to be a problem. We're going to find out. But
they won't help me.
not now, honey, but at some point they might.
I don't see you walking that far.
Okay, so I'm not going to go there. What I was going to say prior to the conversation about the pedestrian crossing was that you've done everything you could to make this look as attractive as possible, with function being the primary goal. And I just think it's great that the extras that have been included still within budget that will actually make this look good as possible too. I just think a lot of effort went into this.
And that's a good point, and Jack knows as well as I do, since we drive it multiple times a day, your point about pedestrians walking, I see them, and I'm like, they're risking their lives going across that bridge because those cars are going like 45, 50 miles an hour. So it'll be a great benefit, not only for that, but the aesthetics there is not attractive at all. So it should hopefully help the businesses there. So it's all good, so I think.
Yeah, and I appreciate you coming up, as all of staff does. I'm always amazed how you guys come up with something that looks, let's say, the fencing doesn't look that attractive, and somebody says, oh, you know what, if we put vinyl on there, it doesn't look nearly as bad. So I really appreciate you coming up with these creative ideas that are still within budget. Absolutely. Thanks. But I still would like us to look at the.
So does that mean we need to table this or what?
I think we should move forward, since she said it could be added, and then direct them to
That's
come
great, because I
back.
want to hold it up.
That way it moves forward, yes. I'll support.
So
So I'll make a motion to move forward and approve the Walnut Street pedestrian and traffic.
part of that motion, would you like to direct staff to come back with
Exactly what he said.
Second.
information? There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you,
Thank
Ms.
you.
Coe. We now move to item 6.6. Mr. Smith, we're going to hear from you about this pertaining to the Walnut Street Corridor Transition District, real close to where we were just talking about.
Sure. Many years ago, we tried to design some transition as we were starting to have problems with the some of the houses there and the condition of the houses, and also that we have kind of a smoother transition to those older neighborhoods that are in the back. There were two aspects of that corridor design that involved two areas of infill. And at that time, we kind of created a zoning that we thought might be appropriate for that. But one of the infill we took care of, we created a park. So there's really one left. And the thought is not to give up on the conditional zoning at this point, but to relook at that infill piece and see if there's a more complementary piece that might help that corridor rezoning. And so what I did is I did talk to staff, because I didn't want to catch them cold in all of this. And based on the verbiage that we put in this, I'm asking that the staff go back and revisit that corridor zoning for that one component and come back to us. And it'll go through a full public hearing and everything else.
Yeah. Ms. France, your co-sponsor?
I can't really add anything to what Mr. Smith just said. I think he covered it pretty well. We'll just send this to staff and see what comes back.
Okay, other comments?
I would just commend Mr. Smith for paying attention to this and bringing this now as a proactive way rather than let it continue to fail, although it looked like a really good idea at the time.
Thank you. Do we need that in the form
of a motion to direct staff?
I'm looking for it, I just, you know. Okay, I make a motion that we request, we direct staff to review the existing zoning standards for only the infill sub-district of the Walnut Street Corridor Transition District and present some potential changes to council that might better facilitate future developments on Walnut Street. I make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Now we have a closed session. I would entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I'd be happy to do that for you, Mayor. Pursuant to General Statute 143-318.1 sub A4 and sub 3, I move that we hold a closed session to discuss matters relating to the location or expansion of industries or other businesses in the town, including agreement on a tentative list of economic development incentives that may be offered by town in negotiations, consult with attorneys employed by and/or retained by the town in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorneys and the town, and to prevent the disclosure of information that is made privileged or confidential by GS 143-318.10 sub E.
There's a motion.
Second.
And a second. Discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and we're going into closed session. We'll reconvene our council meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.